Well, hey gang, how are you? This is David Kruger with the Alpha Shift. It's been almost 2 months since our last full episode. My apologies for being so absent, but as you all know, we are in a time of extraordinary shift and change, and David Kruger and the Alpha Shift are no different, going through so much growth and change and realization. On the Alpha Shift front, I've got a new course in production for you guys. I'm really excited about it. Many of you I put out a survey asking a lot of the email subscribers what their greatest pain in life was. If you're listening to this episode, or if you're watching the video, I'm going to put a link to that survey in the description, in the show notes. So if you haven't filled it out yet, you can let me know what's going on, because I'm using that feedback to further inform the content of the course and, frankly, how I'm going to market it to you guys when it comes out. I'm very excited about it. I am taking the time, you could say, to write you a shorter letter. I really want to get you to a place where you're feeling good about yourself, you're feeling good about being you, and that energy, that vibration literally bleeds off of you. When that happens, you're going to be that guy that just think that things just work out for. And everything that you think that you want, the hot girlfriend, the great wife, the money, the house, the kids, the car that your old high school buddies are impressed with, all of those things that you think that you want are really just things that you think are going to give you a certain feeling. A feeling of satisfaction, a feeling of self-approval, a feeling that all is well, a feeling of love, a feeling of confidence. If you think about it, those are the things that we really want. We don't necessarily want the car or the golf clubs or the woman. Those things are all great. But what we really want, what we really truly want, is the feeling that we think the thing will give us. And the Alpha Shift, the new course, I haven't quite named it yet, I'm throwing around a few ideas, is designed to get you to that feeling. I'm going to give you some how-to. I'm going to give you some things to do, some ways to behave, some things to say, some mindset things you're going to do. I'm going to give you a lot of actionable data. But this course is going to be the beginning of you and I having a mentor-mentee relationship and getting you to a place where you are going to feel bulletproof, you're going to feel amazing, and you're going to feel in charge of your life and your existence. Some of you maybe for the first time. And so I'm really trying to fashion this as a gift, as an offering. I mean, I have to charge money for it, but it's an energetic offering. It's like a spiritual offering for your betterment. So look forward to that. The subject of today's episode, this is episode 24, finally. Is she marriage material? We're going to look at some very interesting information. It's going to help us. It's going to be a discussion. We're going to talk about how you evaluate any woman on whether or not she is in fact marriage material. I'm going to take you through an article, and I'm going to make comments on it, and we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to wrap this episode up. I didn't tell you this part in the description. We're going to wrap this episode up, and I'm going to ask, are you marriage material? And we're going to look at that. So first things first, let's take a look at this very interesting article. Okay, so here we go. This article appeared in June, on June 16th in the Washington Examiner, and it's by one of my favorite authors. Her name is Suzanne Venker. You guys have heard me mention her before. She calls herself the feminist fixer. And gentlemen, that is exactly what this woman is. So I'm going to read through Suzanne's article a little bit. I think it's brilliant, and I'm going to comment along the way. So Suzanne says, We hear plenty about eligible men or men who are marriage material. But what makes a woman marriage material? This is a more pertinent question, since women are the sex that bows out of marriage the most. Suzanne's actually absolutely right about that. About 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Last week, pop star Kelly Clarkson filed for divorce from her husband Brandon Blackstock, citing irreconcilable differences. That may get a big yawn from those who don't expect celebrity marriages to last, but from the framework of Clarkson's divorce is emblematic of most divorces today. The overwhelming majority are filed by wives who use the vague umbrella of irreconcilable differences to get out of an abuse-free marriage. How can young men avoid this fate? I think that's what most readers of the Alpha Shift and listeners of this podcast would like to know. By paying close attention to the things a woman says and does while dating. So many statements Clarkson made about her relationship with Blackstock prior to marriage mirror the attitudes and beliefs of many modern women. I hope you're listening very carefully. This is very important, and if you pay attention, it could save your life. Platitudes such as, I don't depend on him, and he doesn't depend on me. Or, I think the biggest thing is getting married later in life. You change so much in your 20s. How many times have we heard that? I know a lot of people, even parents of kids, who think that, oh, you're still a child in your 20s. You're still finding yourself in your 20s. You got to be kidding me. My parents' generation had kids by their early 20s. These are just a few examples of the narrative women have been sold for decades. Never depend on a man. Delay marriage as long as possible and focus on yourself and your career. And for the record, and Suzanne makes a note of this, and I love this, people change all throughout their lives, not just in their 20s. I'm still finding myself in my 20s is an excuse for acting like a child. You are an adult. If you can drink a beer and shoot a gun and go to war and drive a car, you can get married and be an adult. More often than not, this approach to life backfires. By inflating the satisfaction money and career can bring, we teach young women to ignore what will ultimately matter to them in the end: love and family. Don't believe me? Just ask any single 40-year-old woman what she wishes she had, what she misses. We tend to succeed at whatever we spend most of our energies on. And indeed, professionally, women are doing very well. But when it comes to lasting love, they're shooting blanks. All the time, women spend on education and career at the expense of marriage and relationship. And this has another unintended result. They end up marrying men who aren't as successful as they are. Whenever they do this, such marriages hang by a thread. The joke among successful women is, the better you do at work, the more likely you are to get a divorce. It's not a joke, though, it's true. Rather than try to understand why marriages in which women out-earn men are so tenuous, the culture dumps on men. When a man named Joseph asked Mona Chalabi of 538 if a woman making more money increases a man's chance of being divorced, Chalabi wrote a lengthy response and ended her counsel with this. So Joseph, if you're among the 38% of married couples in which the wife earns more, and you're stressed about the situation, I have to say, with the utmost respect, get over it. Your marriage depends on you not having a fragile ego. Really? So we resort to shaming tactics and avoid the issue. Well, you just have to grow up and not have a fragile ego. No wonder so many guys go MGTOW. That's all I got to say about that. This entitled and unsympathetic view of men and marriage is the reason so many women fail as wives. Joseph's ego isn't the problem. Women's ignorance of the male-female dance is the problem. The assumption is that we can ignore sex differences and pretend those differences don't matter, but they do matter. The richer women get, the more likely they are to divorce their husbands. That's something men need to know. I would add to Suzanne's comments, that's something most men do know. Readers of the Alpha Shift newsletter certainly know that. I mean, my goodness, if I put out some sort of a pro-marriage email, I usually get about 4 or 5 hate mails back saying, Dave, do you even know what you're talking about? Come on. It's a bad deal for men today. Guys, I know it's a bad deal. But we need to deconstruct why it's a bad deal and how you can live, thrive, and survive despite that. Don't waste your time with women who put career rather than family center stage. This is Suzanne Venker saying this, by the way. I agree with her, but just so you know. Stick with women who look forward to getting married and who structure their lives in a way that demonstrates this value. In addition, be wary of the woman whose relationship with her father, this is key, has been broken, or the woman whose mother taught her to never depend on a man and be independent at all costs. Things will not end well if you marry her. All right, guys, anybody listening to this who's nodding their head saying, yeah, you should have told me that before I married my first wife? Yeah, you and me both, buddy. First wife, multiple girlfriends. If I had known what I was looking for, I would have run like I was on fire from almost every relationship I've ever had. But that's just me. Your chances of having a happy marriage are just much higher when you marry a family-focused woman. That used to be all of them, 50, 60 years ago. Such women do exist, though they're unquestionably fewer in number these days, so you may have to wait a while to find her. That will be hard. But if you want to get married and stay married, it'll be worth the wait. She's marriage material if she's family-minded. If her priorities are to be with a man, raise children, have a family, if she's got solid values. I hate to use the stereotype of the good Christian girl, but it's basically the stereotype of the good Christian girl. A modern woman who is a go-getter, tell it like it is, ball-busting, having at it, putting her career first, 35 years old, single, high-powered lawyer. She may be a nice girl. She really might be. But she's never going to be a good wife to a husband. She's always going to end up putting herself first. She's always going to end up divorced and probably divorcing you. They all do. The reason is conditioning. Modern conditioning has conditioned these women to just what Suzanne said in the article. Don't depend on a man. You need to be independent. You get what you think about most of the time. And if that's what she thinks about most of the time, if that's what was embedded in her from the time she was a little girl, then that's what she is. The unfortunate thing for a lot of women is that they don't realize the fallacy of this thinking until they've lived enough life to experience what a disaster it is. And by now she's 40 years old. She's getting a little too old to have kids. And she's way too old, frankly, to be considered attractive to young single men who are looking for a good wife, who are looking to settle down with someone. No one wants the 40-year-old who has a lot of mileage on her and a lot of baggage about men and a lot of negative attitudes about men. It's not that we can't handle you. We can handle you. We just don't want to. Some of these women are serving up a shit sandwich and wondering why no man wants to place an order. So, you are looking for a bit of a unicorn. A younger woman who's looking for a good guy who's going to fill his masculine role. We're going to get to in a few minutes. What is it that makes you marriage material? So you need a girl who knows what she wants. And it's a family. And to be in a partnership with a man. Each filling their unique roles, not trying to be equal and samey-same. In an egalitarian sense of, we're fair about everything. That's a bunch of crap and it doesn't work. These are the criteria that you have to fulfill if you're going to get married. My honest advice to you guys, short of any of this, don't get married. If you've got that hot girlfriend who's just great and she's cool and you love to do Netflix and chill and you have similar interests and you go to the gym together, but neither one of you really want kids, that's fine. You can date. You can have fun. But don't move in with her and sure as hell don't get married. Marriage is a serious, legally binding contract. It's also, depending on your religious upbringing, a covenant before God. However, the clear and present danger to most men is the costs of marriage, the costs of raising a family, and the crippling and devastating, often, costs of divorce and separation. And so this episode, we're a little more serious today. I'm giving you some hard data, some good thoughts to consider if you're actually thinking about getting married. This is kind of a red pill episode. If you don't have a woman who really wants to raise your kids, and her second or third priority maybe is that career, you really need someone who wants that life. They exist. They're just few and far between. I'm told they exist. I don't know if I've ever met one, to be honest with you. Which is why you don't hear about David's wife. I've been married. I've made every mistake you can make. And I'm better for it. I have no regrets. But, yeah, it's an interesting situation today. And if you can't find something special that's a good investment, don't get married. Don't marry that great girlfriend who doesn't want kids. You can date. You can stay together, but you don't need to play house, and you sure as hell don't need to get legally bound to her. So let's think about what specifically might make you marriage material. There are obvious things. Just as Suzanne said in her Washington Examiner article, there's a lot of material out there over what makes a man good marriage material. Let's run it down. Are you a go-getter? Do you have a good, solid income? Can you provide? Do you own a home? Do you have your own car? Do you have a good relationship with your parents? Are you a good, loyal guy? You know, it's funny. Some of the very things that men don't care about with a woman, you know, what degree do you have? You own your own house? Do you have a good income? Men don't give a crap if women have any of those things. But you turn that around, and it's very important to women that you have your act together, that you are financially solvent, that you would be a good provider, a good father for children, a good husband to her. Yes, those things are all very important. But for the purpose of our discussion today, I'm going to dig a little deeper, and I'm going to give this some meaning. So to do that, I'm going to start with reading the headings of a couple chapters of my favorite book. David Data is going to help us out with today's discussion. And so the first thing I'm going to look at is Chapter 7, In the Way of the Superior Man. I'm not going to read you an entire book chapter. I'm just going to read you a little bit of the beginning. Chapter 7 of Way of the Superior Man, a book that should be on your bookshelf and that you should be reading and rereading frequently. Your purpose must come before your relationship. Every man knows that his highest purpose in life cannot be reduced to any particular relationship. If a man prioritizes his relationship over his highest purpose, he weakens himself, disserves the universe, and cheats his woman of an authentic man who can offer her full, undivided presence. That, gentlemen, is what women are really looking for. Whether they can articulate that exactly or not, that's what women are really looking for. A man who knows where he's going. A man who has a purpose in life. And while she may not be comfortable articulating, a man who would leave me if I came between him and his purpose, that is exactly what she wants. That's the kind of strength that women want to be exposed to. For her to relax and for her to stop acting like a man herself, she needs to know that you're going to be the man, that you're strong and powerful, that the last thing in the world you need from her is validation and knowing you're okay. I know this may not sound politically correct and like some of the other feel-good, douchey stuff you see floating around the internet these days, but this is the truth. You need to have a purpose and not just a job, not just a good income. There are plenty of guys, there are plenty of mortgage bakers and heart surgeons and, guys with good jobs and great incomes who are divorced. You can look around your life and you know that's the case. You probably know people. You need to know who you are. You need to have a purpose in life. An overarching mission. Something your soul came here to accomplish. And you are on that mission no matter what. And when you are on mission, and you are sharing that mission in your life with your woman, now we're cooking. Now that's something she wants to be a part of. And when you are on mission, you'll probably do okay financially. You'll have the necessities of life. You'll have the temerity and the wherewithal to be able to provide for a wife and children. If you so choose, if that's something that you want. You must have purpose. I would say all of these young men today who women and social commentators are saying have no direction and they make no money and they're not good marriage prospects and they're less successful than the woman. It's not because they don't know how to go get a job. It's because they have no purpose. They have no direction. They've literally lost track of their souls. Men are really lost today. They are not taught practical skills. They are not nurtured. They are not spending their youth in the company of men, of their fathers, their uncles, grown men in the society who teach them how to be men. That's sorely lacking, especially with a divorce rate that's been sky high for many decades. Many of these young boys are being raised by single mothers. It's the mother who overwhelmingly gets custody of the children in the overwhelming number of cases. And so we have a world full of grown men who don't know how to be men. It's everywhere. Turn on the news. Look at these Antifa thugs. What do you think you're seeing? That's what happens. There are these directionless young men who do nothing but play video games, gain weight, have no direction in life. It's that way because that's what we've created. When we began to overcompensate and empowering women at the expense of young men, well, this is what you end up with. So we have an imbalanced scale that we're trying to correct. So, for those of you listening to this, the most important thing you can do is find your purpose in life and pursue it. Pursue it. Pursue it. This is more important than that good job with the kid at the corner cubicle. This is more important than looking good or having the car in the driveway. Find a real purpose in life. I don't care where it takes you. I don't care if it takes you to the top of the corporate ladder or if it takes you to meditating on a hilltop in India. Find your purpose. You're on this earth for a reason. Find that reason. When you have done that, You can be broke and be attractive. You can, be lacking, some sort of material assets and still be very attractive. Women respond to energy. They don't respond to resumes. Ooh, that's good. I'm going to use that. A woman responds to your energy, not your resume. Ooh, I might change the podcast title of that. Okay, here's a little more wisdom from David Data. And this is from chapter 34, and it ties right in with the discussion we were just having. She wants to relax in the demonstration of your direction. A woman must be able to trust you to take charge if she relaxes her own masculine edge. This is true financially, sexually, emotionally, and spiritually. The man doesn't have to actually do all the work, but he must be able to steer the course if his woman is going to relax into her feminine without fear. Okay, that was just so perfect. I'm going to read it one more time. A woman must be able to trust you to take charge if she relaxes her own masculine edge. This is true financially, sexually, emotionally, and spiritually. The man doesn't have to actually do all the work, but he must be able to steer the course if his woman is going to relax into her feminine without fear. Some of you listening to this who have done nothing but seek approval from women all of your life are listening to that like it's gobbledygook. You couldn't imagine what it would be like to be with a woman who was relaxing into you. Some of you guys who might be henpecked, nagged, or just generally at adversarial ends with your wife or girlfriend or past exes that you're remembering. That might seem like an alien concept to you. But that is what is possible when a man finds and pursues with reckless abandon his purpose in life. When you find your purpose in life, when you're sure of it, when you're pursuing it, she's going to climb on board. She's going to want to be a part of it. She's going to support you. But you need to sell her that it's a good purpose and that you're doing it no matter what. She needs to be convinced. The first person you need to convince, obviously, is yourself. Then she needs to buy it. And believe me, if she believes in you and in your course in life, she will be there supporting you. She will be selling lemonade and t-shirts for, David's mission in life, whatever it is. And she will relax. She will allow you to be the man. She will encourage that. It will happen. And even if you find your purpose in life and you pursue it, and no woman ever follows, it was still a worthy endeavor. It was still exactly what you needed to do. Exactly. This is the only way. This is the course that your life must take. Find your purpose. Find your soul's purpose and pursue it. How many people are living lives of quiet desperation? Maybe they are married. Maybe the guy married his high school sweetheart. And back then she was wonderful, but 3 kids and a mortgage payment and a boat later. Life is just getting by, keeping up, keeping the payments made, making compromises at a job that you hate. How many lives of quiet desperation are taking place? How many lives of quiet desperation have come unglued in the last 6 months as this pandemic has swept the world and upended the economies of every country in the world? Unemployment's all over the place in the United States. How many lives of quiet desperation have gone over the cliff? They were just hanging on before, and now they're in free fall. This is a wake-up call, guys. Find your purpose. Find your purpose. And when you are evaluating women, I'm talking about evaluating women for marriage. I'm not talking about your casual fun flings. When you are seriously considering a woman for marriage, take a good long look at her. Is she going to follow along with your mission? Is she going to be worth it? Does she want children? Does she want to be a mother? Does she want to be a wife? Does she want to follow a man's mission? Or is she just in it for herself? You have to notice. You have to see these things. And if you have a woman who's out for herself, and I've known many over the years, wish her well. Wish her luck. Do not resent her. Do not judge her. But for the love of God, do not marry her. Do not. Giving you guys a little bit to think about. If you can, click on the link in the description and fill out the questionnaire I have, asking about some of your greatest pains in relationships. I would love to hear from you, love to hear about your life. And I also have a very special gift, also in the show notes. One of the greatest mentors ever in my life, very successful man, a guy by the name of Kevin Trudeau, years ago put together what many consider to be the definitive course on creating the life that you want, manifesting anything you want, and creating your life purpose. I have a link to this course in the description. And for a limited time, I'm giving it away absolutely free. Video and downloads. Click on the link. Put your email in and you're going to get the download. It is life-changing. 11 years ago, this course changed my life. I'm still working with Kevin. I'm still learning from Kevin. And I'm still masterminding with like-minded people. And I know places where you can find some pretty amazing women. So, I'm giving you something for free. Take it, take it, take it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click subscribe, smash the notification bell. You'll find out about all the new podcast episodes and videos. Please leave me a comment. Wherever you may be listening to or watching this, leave me a comment, say hi. Tell me what you thought of the episode. Tell me what you would love to see on future episodes. I'm glad to be back. Sorry I've been gone so long, but there's a lot of good things coming in the pipe, and there's a lot of good things coming for us, guys. So, just glad to be back, and it's good to see you. Love you. This is David Kruger with the Alpha Shift. I will see you again very soon.